Yeah, hello. This video is a map guide for passive spotting locations on the map Lakeville. So we're going to start with the north spawn, and I've identified various locations here, 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 and here, which are common for light tank players. They like to play these positions, and I've identified positions where enemy tanks like to play. And we're going to go through all these positions and talk about which ones are good, which ones are bad, and which ones are the optimal positions. So I'm going to start with this one in the back. This is the range that it can see to. And the good thing about this position is that it's extremely safe. You're not going to get spotted. Well, you could get spotted over here. You can spot the road in the middle road. However, you're only going to spot the tanks that advance down the middle road. The ones that hang out in the back at the entrance, you're not going to spot them. And the tanks over here in the south, like they show up over here, they're going to get there before you get there. You're probably not going to spot them. And any tanks that come over here are out of your range. You're not going to spot any of these tanks, anything beyond this area. And obviously, you're not going to spot anything in the city. So this is not a very good position. Now then there's this position, and the maps have changed, and I don't play on the middle road anymore. I used to. So I don't know if it's still here or if they've changed it, but there absolutely used to be a position over here for light tanks. And we're going to pull this range out to here. Now, as you can see, you can spot quite a bit. You're going to miss, once the tanks make it through this area, you're going to miss it. And the tanks that set up to snipe over here are going to be at the edge of your range, and you might miss them. And tanks over here are at the edge of your range, and you might miss them. And you're not going to be able to spot this SPG. You're not going to be able to spot these tanks because of the slope of the land. You will be able to spot this tank if you get there first. You will spot tanks over here, but they don't usually go here. So really, you're going to spot this tank, these tanks at the very beginning of the game, which your allies are probably not going to snipe at. They rarely do. They're usually not in position. You're probably not going to pick up those. This is not that great of a position. And then we've got this position. This is a position that's behind a rock on the middle road at a curve. And what I found from playing this position is you just don't spot anything. Because of the way the curve of the road over here, this part of the road is curved, so you really don't spot anything. You might spot this tank, and you might spot something through the gap over here, and maybe you'll spot this tank over here. But for the most part, this is a pretty useless position. And light tanks go over here, and especially here all the time. And it's a horrible position. I played here. I never got anything useful out of going here. So then I started playing this position. This position started giving me more results. Now, one thing you can do is you can spot the enemy light tanks that show up over here. You can spot these tank destroyers. When they start to move forward up this road, you're going to spot them. They're going to reverse, and they're going to keep on reversing to the point that they get out of here. And every time they try to come around, they're going to get spotted, and they're never going to come out, and they won't be able to shoot at anybody. So you're going to take their guns out of the game, even if nobody damages them. You're going to be able to spot any tanks that show up here or here. You know, they're going to get there first, but if they fire, you're going to spot them. I just want to redraw it just to get a better. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry I moved it. Shit. Okay, I got to fix this. I'll be fixed. Oh, that was easy to fix. Okay. From this position, you're going to be able to spot the tanks over here, but you're not going to get them when they're over here. You're going to get them right as they're about to go behind the slope over here. So you're going to miss. You're going to have only a few second gap to get those tanks. You're going to be able to spot these tanks. And depending on how you position yourself, you might spot a tank going through this gap or this gap. You might be able to spot, obviously, if you, okay, what happened? If you go to the right place, you can spot over here. But those tanks are going to be spotted anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So this is a pretty good position. Now let's talk about this position, which draws out to here. The advantage to this position is you can spot the enemy base. You can spot the heavy tanks as they're driving along the bottom. You can spot the enemy SPG that lines up to shoot on this road over here. These tanks are going to reverse, and when they're over here, they're going to have to go further back, and what they're going to do is they're going to give up and they're going to go to this other flank. Every time they try to come over here, they're going to get spotted, they're not going to be able to fire at anybody, etc. You're probably not going to spot anyone through this gap. You might spot somebody through this gap, I'm really not sure. You're probably not going to spot that tank. You got to be careful in these positions because they're difficult to get to. If a light tank comes driving through town, runs out over here, and like this, you're going to get spotted. Doesn't happen very often. But what does happen is a medium tank will show up over here. And when that happens, or here, you could get spotted, or here. So you got to watch out when you play in this position or this position. You got to watch out for these tanks. You got to make sure that when you park here and when you park here, no one from these positions is going to spot you. It is possible to do it depending on the size of your tank and how you position it. Okay, so my opinion is that this is the best position, and this is a pretty good position. You're going to clear out this road. You're going to allow tanks to do damage to these guys. These guys won't be able to sit over here. You got a lot of coverage. The battle's going to be over here in the town and over here. This is all over with. The enemy team will not play over here. Now let's move on to the south spawn. I've identified a few popular positions. This position, not very useful. You can spot, obviously, tanks on the middle road. But the tanks, you know, the higher tiers, they're afraid to go out here. And if the enemy is fast, they're going to get behind this rock. So what if you spot them? No one's going to be able to shoot at them. They're going to be behind a rock. And this guy is going to get here. Maybe you'll be able to get this guy out of the game. So really, the only danger is going to be you're going to be able to spot the tanks that are heading this way. You might spot a couple light tanks on the middle road. So this position is not very good. Let's do this position. There used to be two positions. They might have changed it. This goes out to here. You can see that there's a lot more coverage in the back here. You can't really spot the tanks that are over here because I believe there's bushes and a rock in the way. So these are going to be hard to spot. You'll be able to prevent these tanks from going anywhere. You're going to spot this tank as he enters the town, and you're going to spot this tank. You're going to miss the tanks that go this way. So half the tanks go this way, half the tanks go this way. The slower tanks might go this way because they want the shortcut. They just want to get to town. We've got this position, which goes out to here. The advantage to this position is you're going to spot everything on this road. Nobody is going to be safe on this road. They're all going to get sniped. You're going to spot the tanks that go across over here. They're in danger. You're going to spot the tanks that come this way. Once they get here, they might be able to make it through. But these tanks are going to be too far away. Your allies probably won't snipe at them anyway. And then you've got this position. Now from here, you're going to spot everything that I just mentioned, plus you might be able to spot that SPG or the tank destroyers that line up over here because they want to shoot at the middle road. I often find an SPG somewhere in the back here. These guys will never advance. They're going to get spotted, and then they're going to go over here and they're going to hide. Even if you play in this position, You're going to clear out this road. You're going to control this middle road. You're going to get damage on these tanks. Well, maybe, I'm not sure. You're going to be lucky if you get damage on these tanks. Depends on how the enemy plays it out. Between this position and this position has a little bit more benefit, but it's a much higher risk. So I would say learn to play this position, and if you eventually do master it, play this position. Now we got to talk about the problems with those two positions. Number one, you can get spotted this way over to here. So you got to watch out when you play that position. I've been spotted through that before. Number two is that sometimes an enemy light tank is going to come running through the town. He's going to run through here, run through here, run through here, and then go this way. And you're going to get spotted if you're here or here. So that does happen. And then you're going to have medium tanks. A medium tank, I don't think they come here very often, but you will see tanks over here in this intersection. So tanks are often here, and they will be able to spot you if you're a large tank or if you didn't park properly. So you really got to watch out for what's going on this road. And there will be tanks over here also. I don't think you can see through here and touch this tank. I don't think it's a problem. You know, obviously, like I said, the maps change, but I know that I worry sometimes that a tank might come through here, but I don't think it happens very often. This is a much safer position. You control this road, might get some lucky shots over here. Don't play this position. It's not worth it, and it's useless. I get much better games playing this position. I get better games playing this position. I usually make it, but it took practice to get to this position. I get much better games from this position. Again, it took practice to get here, and I get good games from this position. From here, nothing. From here, complete waste of time. Over here, waste of time. This is something where you just go to get killed. I never have a good game. And I'm talking about light tanks. It's different if you're a tank destroyer and you want to snipe into town. That's a whole different story, but this is not about tank destroyers. This is about light tanks. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.